Welcome back, y'all, to the podcast Under Your Bed. Sitting across from me is your hostess, Taylor.
Hey, guys.
I'm your host, CJ, and today we are bringing a little bit of Texas to y'all with the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the OG from 1974. If somehow you just never come across this in your freaking horror life, it's about a group of friends out on a road trip, journey into some uncharted Texas territory, run out of gas, and encounter a dangerous family that, slowly starts to slaughter them. So,
this standard now, but it was not at the time. We got to give it. This is considered one of the OG slashers, really.
Yeah, it really, this is even before Halloween, so this is, it really did set the stage for a lot of movies to come. So you got to give it props for that. There's some clear problems with it being a low budget film, but not entirely part of the problem was the cast. Walk us through this cast here, Taylor. Who's working in this?
This is one of those bizarre kind of instances where obviously everybody from this is super iconic and known specifically for this movie and not a ton of work after the fact, which is, again, one of those kind of surprising things where there's this huge legacy attached to this movie, but that, again, we run into the actors not having the most prolific careers. But I think most people are aware that Sally, who is literally our OG final girl, is played by Marilyn Burns. Really, this is her big movie. Leatherface is Gunnar Hansen because we respect he is the original, so we got to give him a specific shout out. But honestly, all the actors in this is really the credit. And I think if I have this correct, I hope I'm not wrong, there's only one returning family member, if I have that right, which is the gas station proprietor played by Jim. I'm going to just butcher this last name.
Sido.
Oh, if only I knew how to read correctly. Anyways, he comes back and does Texas Chainsaw 2, which is also Tobe Hooper. But honestly, for the most part, this is the big movie attached for most of these guys, aside from being part of the horror lore and going to the conventions for these roles specifically, which we love and respect, so much appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Well, alternatively, a lot of the crew did go on to have very successful careers.
Totally.
Tobe Hooper being one of them, the director. He went on to make movies like Poltergeist, continued on with the Chainsaw Massacre legacy and Chainsaw Massacre number 2. We got Body Bags, bunch of horror television flicks. Hooper had some help writing this with Kim Henkel. I don't think he went on. Sorry, Kim.
Oh no, I didn't look it up.
That was me. That was on me. Kim, obviously her. Anyways, some strong editing and cinematography.
Oh, the cinematography.
So on edit, we had Sally Richardson in combo with J. Larry Carroll. Carroll went on to do Hills Have Eyes, Tourist Trap, Stargate, SG-1. Cinematography, Daniel Pearl. I wasn't so familiar, but Mom and Dad, Texas and Friday reboot from the 2000s. A bunch of music videos.
Load of music videos. Literally, if you can think of a big artist, this guy has worked with him. We're talking U2, Mariah Carey, not even just the 90s. I swear he's doing recent stuff too, but Dead Mouse, he's done such a wide variety of music videos as well. It's insanely impressive to read his IMDb page.
Which makes sense if you think about the run and gun style of low budget indie filmmaking that would fit well in music video world. But obviously those names are huge. So, they have some very scripted storyboarded content. But anyways, I digress. Composed by Tobe Hooper as well as directed and written, maybe wasn't the strongest choice. Hire that shit out next time, maybe. I don't know. And Wayne Bell, I don't know who, he did some sound work in Twister, Boyhood, so he went on to do some great stuff. And I would say the sound effects in this were very strong at times. It's just largely a movie with very little music or any soundtrack.
Good production
Effects
design,
and
though, too.
production design. Yeah, this is where things were stepping up. Robert Burns on production design. I mean, these scenes are just littered with like mise-en-scene elements from like skeletons and skin lampshades and dead animals and all kinds of like just gritty stuff to bring these characters, this setting to life. And then, while the effects were limited intentionally, actually, they were, when seen, very strong effects. So done by Dan W. Miller, who did some kind of big stuff later, right? Waterworld, that's a huge effects like movie. My God.
Yeah.
Frozen.
Dante's Peak, too.
Yeah, Dante's Peak. Come on, man.
Yes.
That's a good one. That's great. I don't know if we can fit that into horror, but I think we should review that one day for fun.
Just for fun.
We'll have a
grandma
great time.
like volcanic ashed on fire. I think it counts. We can call it good.
Yeah, that's good times had by all. All right, so I mean, this really did set the stage for a ton of horror films to come, right? Teen slasher type genre. What is like, talk a little bit to me about why this movie has become so iconic, but maybe where did it miss the beat?
Honestly, this was one of those movies where I felt like for a long time, I'd like watched it once forever ago, and I'm hearing all these horror people talk about it and how great it is and how amazing it is. And I was like, I don't really remember it being that good. Rewatching it, woo, I completely changed my tone. It is so well shot. It is just absolutely stunning at times. You've got this like very gory, macabre displays, just the way that it's lit and shot, though, that just look absolutely stunning. And it's just really a pleasure to watch, visually speaking. It also really predates a lot of our horror tropes, so we don't quite get that with this group, which in a way is kind of a nice thing to see. Obviously, it means we don't get quite as fleshed out of characters as we might see today.
Right.
But Sally still is a very super solid final girl for being kind of like the beta version of what a final girl would end up being. Very resilient, resourceful, just kick ass in a way, but maybe not being as much, well, I guess you could kind of argue as much of a fighter as you would get with like a Sidney Prescott per se. I don't think she's like on the same level, but again, very resilient, very resourceful. It's just, it deserves the credit it's given, and I regret that it took me so long to go back and rewatch this. So if you're somebody who also maybe watched it a couple years ago and didn't fully appreciate the cinematic value, I highly recommend going back. I also think thematically it has some stuff going on that we'll obviously get to more in the deep dive version. I mean, obviously where it misses is, again, there's a definite lack of character development. I don't think anyone would argue that.
If at all.
They're not stupid, which is appreciated. No one's stupid. No one's a stereotype, but they don't function really as fully fledged.
Well, they're not
humans.
Stereotypes because they're not anything at all. They're very like flat characters. They're just running and screaming from impending danger. Like,
or hardly even. They're like gone 10 seconds after the attack happens.
That's
so
true.
You don't even
get
that. So I think that to me is the con. How about you sound like you're kind of feeling the same way.
Yeah, very much on the same page here. I would say, the biggest problems in this movie are the lack of kind of story outside of just being chased and killed, the lack of character development, which we just touched on, and then like the deaths being so immediate for all but one character, our final girl, that it just lacked some suspense that I wanted. Now, I will say the last 30 minutes of this film kicked into high gear, and it's a totally new experience.
Stressful, very stressful.
Yeah, welcome to the House of Horrors. So that's where this movie really like stood its ground. I could sense like this is like a proving ground for our cinematographer and director, where they were hitting a lot of strong notes, but on the same token, they would kind of like miss some, what I think are at least nowadays very like standard things, like but we'll dive into that some more. And then again, there's like the sound design in this was kind of all over the place. There's like no
I kind of like it though.
now I agree at times, like let the scene play out, static camera, love it, or just like long take, and then don't muddle the scene with a bunch of junk music and sound, score, but some of it would be nice, guide us along a little bit.
However, it does have one of the most iconic sounds ever, which is that flash bulb. I mean, I don't know what else you associate that with. That's an automatic. It's Texas Chainsaw. And if you hear it in another horror movie, and honestly, it's in every Texas Chainsaw at this point. If you're going to have a Texas Chainsaw movie, you're going to hear that flash bulb sound. But it is really well utilized in this, where I think like it just feels like we're just copycatting in later iterations. So I give them credit too for that.
Right. Performances. I think our final girl knocked it out of the park. Right.
Yeah.
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 I would say, some of the supporting cast, little more forced at times. And then again,
Pam is good, but she's given more. She's actually given something to do. I don't think everybody's given something to do.
That's where I was going is, they were given what they had to work with. They couldn't really take their character anywhere. So they're kind of just stuck with a lot of just dialogue and then dead. Or
not so much if you're Disco Stew there. There's really not so much, you get very limited dialogue and then you're just kind of out at one point.
Right. So, overall, Taylor, where are you landing on? We'll start with our overall rating for this historic film. Out of 4 stars, what are you giving it?
Honestly, for the cinematic value alone and for how stressed out I felt in the later half of it, like to me, it's almost it's not disconnected where it feels disjointed in a way that it's so abrupt and horrifying, but it does feel like in a way like two kind of movies, like the way the camera flows and just the natural flow of what's the events that are happening. It almost feels like two separate things, but they do go well together.
Right.
The first half to me is such a focus for me on like cinematography and just It's just so stunning. And then the second half, really the last 30 minutes, as you correctly stated, are just an exercise in terror and just feeling really anxious while that's all going on, with some very odd but fitting dark humor involved. So because it can balance this weird thing that doesn't feel like it should work, I'm actually going to give this one 3 because I just enjoyed watching this so much. And again, just some stunning cinematography in this. So I'm going to give this one a 3, which is a lot higher than I thought I was going to go before I rewatched it. What's your overall?
That's where I'm landing too. I want to be a little kind to the film because this was from 1974. There weren't a lot of this type of slasher movie done before it. So I think they accomplished something great. I think there was a lot of room for improvement, but also given the budget, they did a fantastic job.
Oh yeah.
All right, this one might be a little tricky. I don't know.
This one is tricky.
Scare factor. Out of 4 monsters under the bed, how scary are you landing on this flick?
I think, as you noted, it's off-putting, but I don't know if I'd say it's scary, though the last 30 minutes ham it up so much that it's a really hard one to rate. If you were just rating the last 30 minutes, it would probably be significantly higher. I don't think it's fair, because the last 30 minutes are so stressful, to give it a 1. I really hesitate in giving it a 2, but it feels too weird to give it a 1, given the content and what you're seeing. Yeah, that's genuinely, it's a tough one. It's not one I think about at night, but again, the scenario at the end is deeply, deeply upsetting and disturbing. And even though you're not seeing a lot of gore, the stuff that is physically happening to characters is pretty horrifying. So I think I'm being a little overly kind, but I am going to give this 1 or 2 just for that tension that they have at the end, really. How about for you?
So I always err a little higher than you, but in this case, it is a solid 2 in my opinion. It's a movie that is dated. It is so hard to create a horror film that stands the test of time. It has been done, and those are, those 4 stars that just will be everlasting in cinematic history. But unfortunately, while this broke ground, I would say it's a bit dated. So,
I think it's fair.
2 stars. Yeah,
that's fair.
All right, so I hope you all go watch this if you haven't. If you did watch it, stick around. I think we really have a lot to say about this. We both love it for so many reasons, and we are going to really enjoy ripping this one apart, just like Leatherface did, those poor little fuckers.
Welcome to the podcast Under Your Bed. There'll be drinks, critique, and perhaps a few murders. You're all invited, but once the podcast has begun, there's no way out. The ghosts are waiting, so won't you join me for the podcast Under Your Bed?
All right, I love me a kid screaming.
It just can get so much higher than you or I are able
more
to do.
More shrill.
Yeah. It matches the women in this film much better. So I think that worked out. Getting a small child to do it.
Hey, we gotta, pass on the traditions. Let's keep the horror flicks coming for the next generation. All right, Taylor, we got a cocktail coming out of the heat of Texas. What are we sipping on today? What are you sipping on? This is a good
one, guys. This is a real good one. So this is the Chainsaw Paloma, and we've actually used this account before when we did the stab cocktail. But if you recall, that was a little rough for both of us to drink. This one, not. This one is super good. So again, this is from G is for Ghost. This is a TikTok account. They're not doing cocktails anymore, but if you go on their page, they have a ton of old cocktails banked in there. Highly recommend checking them out if you're looking to pair it with a movie or something. But it's really nice. So it's your basic Paloma, and that you're going to have lime juice, grapefruit juice, tequila. This one has agave syrup. I know some people do simple syrup, but I think the agave is a little bit better if you're going this style. You got some jalapeno for the spice, and it tops off with some club soda. The only thing I would say on just a little difference from the recipe, I would suggest using about half of the agave syrup. Otherwise, it's coming across as pretty sweet. And I would recommend fresh squeezed grapefruit juice over doing the white grapefruit juice you can buy in a can. I just think it's better. So those were my 2 changes. It is delightful, very refreshing. I took the seeds out, so it's not as spicy, but if you want to amp the spice, keep your seeds in. I didn't know how it would taste. I was very nervous I was like, I don't know, jalapeno, is it going to be good, bad?
She's a Midwest girl. You can't blame her.
I'm from Michigan. Okay. But it's really good, guys. This is definitely one I recommend you make. I think this is top tier, just really good. And as we're entering out of summer, it's kind of nice to get something like this to remind you there is still some sunlight left before we move into fall.
Oh, see, I'm the opposite. I'm looking for something cold and refreshing to get me out of summer down here in Texas.
Yeah, we're already way out in Michigan. It's gone.
All right. Well, and then if you're like me and can't track down the ingredients, a good, refreshing National Beer of Texas, Lone Star is the way to go.
Respect.
Cheer here, y'all. All right. Quick summary review for everybody out there who hasn't watched this movie in quite some time. So, we open with shots of a grotesque display made from a grave-robbed corpse and a voiceover letting us know that this is not the only occurrence. We then cut to a group of 5 friends comprised of our final girl, Sally, her brother, Franklin, her friend, Jerry, and couple, Pam and Kirk. They find that Sally and Frank's grandfather's grave has been undisturbed, so they head back out on the road where they decide to pick up a hitchhiker. It's clear very quickly, though, that this hitchhiker is not on the level after he takes Franklin's knife and cuts open his own hand. The group kicks him out after he sets a small fire in the van and also cuts Franklin. After being informed by the owner of a gas station that they're low on gas, the group heads to a nearby farmhouse that Sally and Franklin's family own. They find the home worse for wear, but make the best of it with Pam and Kirk heading towards a swimming hole for some hanky-panky swimming action.
Wow.
Instead, however, they attempt to get gas once they discover that the swimming hole's out of water and there's a home being run by generators nearby. Kirk leaves Pam outside and elects to enter the home, hoping to find the owners. Kirk is almost immediately bludgeoned to death by a masked man, Leatherface, we all know and love.
We do love him. Come on now.
Yeah, he's fucking amazing. Pam enters the home after Kirk fails to return and finds a macabre sight with human and animal bones littered everywhere and making up the bulk of the furniture as well, which is pretty sweet. Who knew animal bones can make such a comfy couch?
I know, repurpose. They're eco-friendly over there.
Exactly. Reuse, reduce, recycle. Being rightfully freaked the fuck out, Pam attempts to run out of the home only to be dragged back into the house and placed on a hook by Leatherface. Classic. Leatherface proceeds to pick up his favorite tool, aka the chainsaw, and dismembers Kirk's body in front of her. After a while, Jerry decides to head out to find Pam and Kirk, but similar to the two, happens upon the home and decides to enter. What is up with them? Seriously, yo. Like, that's just a little B&E is just like typical in these worlds, I guess.
Yeah, don't just enter a random and also like creepy looking house. Like, there's a junkyard of cars in front. Like, it should be Red Flag City. Don't go in there. Don't go in there.
City for sure. Jerry finds Pam nearly dead in a chest freezer, but before he can help, Leatherface kills him with a hammer. With Jerry also missing, Franklin and Sally take to the woods to find their friends. As they near the home, Leatherface emerges from the dark and attacks and kills Franklin again with his chainsaw.
Can we just say woo woo?
His weapon of choice. Yeah,
and
serious.
Franklin.
He had it coming. Sally flees into the house where she finds a decrepit old man and the corpse of a woman. When Leatherface catches up, she jumps out the window and runs to the gas station with Leatherface on her tail. His attack is stopped once the owner of the gas station emerges. However, her relief is short-lived as the owner attacks her, tying her up, dragging her back to the house. Once the hitchhiker arrives, we realize this is a family of creep who love to grave rob and murder together. Family fun time. They even try to get Grandpa in on the fun by letting him suck a little blood off Sally's finger. An act which causes Sally to pass out. And
understandably,
any of us. Sally awakens the next morning and the group continues to harass and torture her and eventually giving their grandpa a hammer in an attempt to kill her. The old man, however, cannot hold the hammer or even swing the dang thing. So the hitchhiker attempts to help his grandfather, which gives Sally just enough time to escape via another epic jump through the window.
There. Yeah, that's twice, girl. Twice. Respect.
Badass. Sally limps her way to the road with Leatherface and the hitchhiker in pursuit. The hitchhiker is then accidentally run over by a goddamn semi-truck. Leather attempts to kill the driver and Sally, but after the truck driver's wrench hits him, he falls and cuts his leg with the chainsaw. Safety first, kids. Giving Sally just enough time to flag down a pickup truck, which she hops into, driving away into the sunset with, Leatherface doing like a striptease dance, some sort of seduction for the audience. I don't know.
Swinging that chainsaw, saying, "What's up, girl?
What up, girl? Come get it. Come get it. You know you want it." Yeah. And
the truck driver?
That's a great question. I
mean, it just...
I was sort of assuming he was dead, but he nothing, like he just he had such a bizarre role. Right? He just like
literally
shows up.
Continues to run. He doesn't get in the trunk.
He does
just runs.
like a Looney Tunes wrench throw to forehead, and then like he's gone. Like I don't know.
He just runs. That's all. He runs off, and that's it. That's all.
Like, nah,
I wonder. I just want to know where's the sequel. Where is the sequel with the truck driver? I want that story. I'm never gonna get it.
Thank you. We got every other sequel though. Like,
oh my god. Yes.
We got the 76 version, the 78 version, the 1993, the 2002, the 2005, 2007, I don't know. It goes. I'm just making all that shit up.
You name it. The one that came out like last year. Yeah.
I mean, the prequel, the sequel to the sequel.
The reboot. The sequel to the first one.
I think we're missing a requel. We need a requel in there. That's what's missing.
I know.
Here.
You're right.
And that would include the requel with the truck driver.
Yes! Nailed it. You nailed it.
Bow. All right. Well, I got to make up my own like sound here because there wasn't any in the movie. There's nothing for me to like reuse.
A point of contention for you, it sounds like.
I don't know. All right. Well, so let's get to it. I mean, yeah, there's things in this movie that were subpar, like score, if you could say this movie had a score. But there's some really obviously phenomenal things happening. What were some of the highlights for you?
Ooh, okay. Let's even though I think we typically hit up cinematography usually about a midway point, but to me it's such a highlight of this, and I feel bad, CJ, because this is going to rest so much on you explaining this.
I have a lot of thoughts.
For me, again, not knowing the ins and outs of cinematography, but just watching it and being very impressed. I kind of touched on it earlier, but even that opening shot, you get the two corpses put on display in the graveyard, but it's shot against this like beautiful kind of foggy morning, and you get like that sunlight creeping in, and it's just shot in such a stunning way. Or when Pam gets into the house and she finds that room where, and again, set design huge on that part too. I want to give a lot of credit to that, to making all that furniture. I literally cannot fathom how somebody did that. But when she's kind of seeing like the bone couches and all like the femurs on the floor and stuff, but you've got these like chicken feathers kind of raining down. Again, it's shot and it's almost like got this like snowy, ethereal kind of look to it where it's just stunning. And then you get some of the more iconic shots, like from the back with Pam walking up to the house. I mean, that's obviously one of the most iconic shots of the entire thing. I just thought it's just really stunning for something that is almost so dirty and should be so gross. And to me, Rob Zombie takes that very just like gross approach to it. And this has this weird like, it is filthy, but it doesn't feel filthy. Does that make any sense what I'm saying right now?
Yeah. Like the bones are all clean. There's no like flesh on them, right? But to the points in cinematography, I thought right off the bat with that opening image of this like corpse on display, you're really getting a sense of like Texas heat, the grittiness of the movie you're about to see. They really let that shot linger. I love it. Just soak in the grotesqueness of the moment.
But it's pretty though, too. Like it is like that is the flesh melting off, but it's pretty somehow.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, it's sort of like artistic, dare I say?
Yes.
And it's got like sort of that overexposed sunlight in the background and like, something that's sort of new for the times in film is like letting there be sun flares in camera, which, was like very purposeful, I felt, throughout this film. Like, it's low budget. They're not going to sit there and try to remove all the imperfections. They leaned into it. They let those live on camera and see those like that grittiness. And then the grain of the film coming out, I think they were shooting on a Bolex, HR-15, and then mixed in an Eclair ACL-16. I'm not sure why they use two different film cameras. I would love anyone's thoughts on that. But, that film look, something they're bringing back in later movies, right? Opening up movies with that film look, a nice callback to this, the OG. I thought it's cool, but that's a different film. I thought camera did great with like using space. Like there's those like wide shots of like when they pick up the hitchhiker, static, wide, letting the van roll through the frame, pick up the hitchhiker, it rolls off, and it's like almost all negative space towards the sky, just really feeling this like isolation in this like vast Texas landscape. And then when we're inside, really moving through the space in a nice way. Like I can recall kind of in the climax of the film, the shot where the gas station owner is kind of like ridiculing the hitchhiker inside the house, and they like pull back from the doorway they're looking through as the hitchhiker runs up the stairs. We see that, and then we push back into the scene as gas station guy is like screwing with the final girl. I don't remember the details at the moment, but so they like really did like let the scene play out on camera, which is also, a nice like balance with the editing flow, I thought. But I really don't think I had any problems with the cinematography other than like they desperately needed some like background lighting. There's so many shots. I don't know if you felt this way, Taylor, where they're running through the woods and all you can see, the only thing that's lit is the characters. So you don't see anything. Let's blast some light in the background, give us some backlight on the character, something to like feel the space, right?
The woods is actually, that was something I was going to ask you, because I just happened to rewatch it during the day, and I had, I think, written on a note, like, is this just me watching this during the day? But I can't see at all. I was curious too what you thought about, especially towards in the last half hour, where you get some of those kind of weird, funky shots where it's those super close-ups of the eyes. I was curious what you thought of that, or if you thought it worked, or it's experimental feeling, or like what did you think about that?
Love the close-ups of the eyes. I thought it was one of the moments where we really saw some of the best acting in the movie coming from Meryl Burns. What I'd say the problem is with that scene, as well as some of the like shots you were talking about earlier, seeing all the mise en scene, all these like grotesque animal and human bones thrown around, is the editing was largely great, but heavy-handed at times. We could have left scenes like a minute earlier a lot of times. Like,
I agree.
The close-ups of the eyes being one of them. Like, okay, you got the point across. You've made us feel the intensity of it. Now we're just like sitting here for an extra minute, and I'm wondering, why am I seeing the same thing over and over and over again? So I felt
wondered about that too. Like
maybe they're trying to stretch it to 90 minutes, but
or make you feel more uncomfortable. I don't know, because the longer you linger, it's a weird feeling, because like you said, on the one hand you're sitting there going, okay, we've seen this shot, and on the other hand you're just going, oh, I don't like being here, like how long are we gonna be here? So I wonder if it's almost to make you feel really uncomfortable, where maybe a movie today would cut that in half. Even that whole sequence, I think, would actually be significantly shorter today than what we went through.
Right. Like, okay, is it part of the times, just a slower audience, or like slower pace that the audience of the day is used to? That could be part of it. But, I haven't seen a lot of bad student films. I think that's like a classic horror scene thing, is like, whoa, look at this grotesque detail. Whoa, look at this grotesque detail. Whoa, look at this. And it's just like, okay, we get it. It's like, there's a lot of like creepy shit. Like, why do I have to see every single piece of prop and set design that you guys built? Like, I don't know, trying to like sell the budget of the film or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Or is it giving you a kind of needed break sometimes because I personally couldn't handle them like mocking her and torturing her for like, it already feels really long. So I'm almost wondering if those shots are in a way to like give you, it's weird. There's a double here. It's like you get all these close-ups and stuff that make you feel super uncomfortable and you're kind of lingering in that uncomfort. But then I also feel like there's a point where it breaks away at certain areas to give you a kind of a break. Like, okay, you're going to get a close-up of this weird headlamp light thing that they've made just so we don't have to hear people screaming for like 10 seconds. So I wonder what the full intention behind that was, if they were leaning one way or towards the other, but I kind of felt both at different times, just for me.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. Sure, something to do with like setting up pacing for the next beat. That could be part of it, giving the audience a break. But I mean, let's be honest. In the last 30 minutes, there wasn't much break. It was like
no, there wasn't.
Like,
it
so I
really
guess
is.
It's honestly a smaller piece of this movie. Like that was pretty much my only like edit, like thing that irked me in edit.
Sure,
but there were some beautiful moments, like kind of the match cuts running through the woods. I thought it was very like throwback to Seven Samurai, right? Like she's running through the woods, then you get the same shot of he's running through the woods, and then you get like the tighter shots of them progressively. I thought were really nice moments. One of the shots that people are sort of like claiming as the best shot of the film is that drunk guy in the opening scene, like laying down on the ground.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, watching it, I was like, God, it's a beautiful shot. He's upside down in the foreground, and you really like are with him as he's like rolling around in this like
I've seen things.
Exactly. It really sets the stage for something dark happening beneath the surface here. And then you get the background, like characters sitting up on the truck bed. I thought it just was really beautiful, like little lens flare in the corner and this like bright overexposed sun baking on him. It really was perfection in a lot of ways. And the irony of that moment, yeah. And the irony of that moment is that the Toby Hooper and why am I trying to the cinematographer Daniel Pearl. They almost walked off set because the producer was like, we got to stick to the storyboard. And they were like, we have to get this fucking shot. And he was like, no, stick to the storyboard. And they almost walked off set, but they eventually like came to, all right, you can get your shot. But how crazy is that, right?
I didn't know that. That's amazing.
What a trip. But I mean, that there was some of that tension, it sounds like, kind of throughout the film in a lot of ways. Like,
it bled in hardcore. I mean, I don't think you see it anywhere else as much as that entire dinner scene, which everybody says it is debatable exactly how long it was, but it seems like the minimum is like a 24-hour shooting period minimally. And a lot of people have cited it like higher than that, where almost everyone came out of that being like, no one was acting at that point. Like we were either losing our minds, or Marilyn Burns was terrified at one point actually getting her finger cut because everybody had just like completely lost it. It was hot as hell in there. It smelled bad with like the meat and stuff. So I think everybody was just losing their minds, but it really feeds into this really unhinged and anxiety producing like long scene of this whole dinner interaction and with grandpa and everything. And I get where it feels really real because it kind of was to an extent.
Yeah, that's awesome. I know on reality TV sets, nowadays, producers will do things like that intentionally, like withhold dinner for hours. Oh, there was a problem with catering, or like put them in hot, like, the AC is broken, make everybody like just angsty and angry so that they just want to rip each other's throats out. Would be curious if any of that was intentional or not.
I don't know that. I don't know.
But to your point, it did bring out some of the best performances in the movie. Who brought it for us, Taylor? Who sent it?
Well, I mean, I think Marilyn Burns obviously sells the horror of it, but then I think it's just having all the guys on top of her screaming in absolute just horror and terror on her face, those close-ups of the eyes, everything feeling very stressful to watch happen. But then you also get the guys mocking her terror and provoking her in what you can assume is a very torturous long period of time because she passes out and then gets up. I think, honestly, I don't think anyone does a bad job in that. Everybody, I feel like, is fulfilling their duty in that specific moment of what they're supposed to be doing. And there is a lot of interesting dialogue, too, that kind of speaks to the dynamics of the brothers during that whole scene,
it's
too.
like the only
kind of
character development. Right.
Yeah, actually, they probably have the most. You're right.
He's just a cook. I take no pleasure in killing, right? I jotted those lines down because I was like, at that point, shocked we're getting any background here. You know? I agree. I thought the acting out of our final girl was just great. You know,
the guys all do great. Yeah.
Yeah, I would be curious. You know, like Leatherface. How did he portray this like psychopathic, mentally disturbed, or mentally disabled, perhaps, character? And you know, how does Leatherface work as our monster or killer?
But he is and he isn't. This is my like feeling, and I think a lot of people feel this way, is that Leatherface is almost probably, if you're talking about like iconic horror villains, I think he's the most sympathetic out of any of them, because Michael's a killing machine. You got Freddy as a child murderer who's just a dick all the time. Chucky is obviously a dick too. Like, these are not good guys. And even though Leatherface is obviously like a killer, there is definitely a childlike quality to him, the way that he acts. The brothers clearly bully and belittle him in a way that kind of makes you feel like they're more the antagonist, despite him being physically the most scary by just being, he's a big dude with a scary leather face mask. Like, that's kind of terrifying. But they treat him like shit. And it feels like it's more of a forced thing in that he's not necessarily inherently like a bad guy, where it kind of feels like the other two are bad guys. But that's just...
Right,
or
he was like raised in this deranged environment,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like the result of his environment. I think that's interesting. You know, I know like at least the 2003 movie, probably others explore the background a little more in terms of Leatherface, and so
the family dynamics.
Yeah, exactly. I want to try to make sure to isolate this movie and how we discuss it just based on this. Like, it was sort of hard, like, to like understand what motivated Leatherface or the other, I don't know, brothers, cousins, whatever they were, in the house. You know, like and especially at least the first hour of the film, you almost got none of the background. So
you do and you don't.
Okay,
I feel like
all
it's
right.
very...
Help me out here, Taylor. I'm a slower viewer.
Yeah, I feel like the conversations in the van with the hitchhiker are the big indicator of kind of where this family is functioning and why, and that they obviously owned and operated a slaughterhouse or worked in the slaughterhouse. I can't remember exactly what the context is. When they talk about, you know, they used to kill them with the hammers, and now we've changed and now it's these machines. But the hitchhiker specifically says puts them out of work. That's a bad way of killing them. You got to do it the way that keeps people working. So you kind of get this idea that there's a socioeconomic situation going on, and that these guys maybe don't have the jobs they had, or even the gas station proprietor is in a situation where he doesn't have gas. Like, these people clearly are hit upon with economic and just technological things that they can't quite fit into the way that they're living this kind of old way in a sense. Where now they've taken those skill sets to humans. They literally are killing people in the same old-fashioned, antiquated way of killing cattle by hitting them with the hammer. And we see that in the very first death, which I think is a really interesting thing, that they literally have that conversation. It's like the hitchhiker and Franklin and talking about, well, the first time you might not get him, you got to hit him again. And that's exactly what happens with the first kill. And they're treated very much like cattle, putting Pam on the meat hook, dismembering the body, repurposing all these bones and stuff for furniture. So they are living this very old style way.
Right. Nothing goes to waste.
Interesting. Yeah, exactly.
All right. That's very, very fair. I will say also with the cattle, like when they were throwing those flashbacks or at least cutaways to the cattle ranches.
I didn't like it.
I know, but that is what was great about it, right? I thought it did a fantastic job of early on building the unsettling the audience and creating an unease in the scenes to just put you in the place of like this very disturbing setting. So
without showing gore too, you don't actually get the gore in that. Yeah.
So I mean, I thought that was absolutely fantastic. And speaking of like not seeing gore, you really don't see almost any gore in the movie. There's definitely some horrific scenes. You also don't hear almost any cursing. Maybe I heard like a bitch at the end, and zero nudity. You get some like sort of gratuitous ass shots at the gas station, and by today's like standards is super tame. And then, like a shirtless
I do
back,
remember. This is funny. The actress who plays Pam, I do remember reading or seeing like an interview with her.
Did it piss her off?
She was like, "Oh, there's my ass cheeks on CinemaScope, giant for the screen." Like it's just like I was so embarrassed and horrified. And then like now though, she's like,
were the thing then.
She's like, that's it. I'm so glad it's on camera forever now. I had my young booty up there,
That is brilliant. I
had to
love
share
it.
that. That was just a great interview from her.
I love it. Well, so, I mean, back to like, this is definitely a little bit of a difference from like today's teen slasher, right?
Yes.
Did it work? Like, is it giving the audience what they want?
It's a yes and no for the exact reasons you pointed out of there's no real characters, unfortunately, except for Sally. And then Franklin, you get probably the second in terms of our like protagonist group, the next like most storyline, but he's so unbearable to watch and he's so annoying.
Yeah.
And there are moments of sympathy for him, like where he's clearly left behind in multiple situations because of his need for a wheelchair. And it being the 70s. And man, when they were putting the planks up, I was like reminded how little was done for people who need wheelchairs at that time.
Right.
So I can't fathom what his day-to-day would have been like. And maybe that's why he's a bit of a dick. He's just kind of a really unlikable, unbearable character. So in that regard, the characters kind of don't work because you just don't get enough to really know who these people are or care enough to, when they die, to feel really bad about it. But I also appreciate they aren't just stupid meatbags, and it's not just like tits out for days, because that's what you get with the remakes and stuff. And it's very frustrating to just have there be no other character aside from she has big boobs. Okay, great. So it's kind of a toss up in that regard. How do you feel about that?
Well, it was sort of like refreshing to that point of like, it's not just like a like gore porn, right? It's more of like that Hitchcock style. Like, you don't have to see the violence for it to be violent. You don't have to see the killer for it to be scary. I will say, given all that though, it lacked a lot of suspense, largely because all of a sudden Leatherface appears and offs a character. It's just so sudden every time. There's no opportunity for suspense to occur.
Oh, it's so hard because I like and don't like that at the same time. I like and don't like that. Like the abruptness of him coming out and hitting Kurt with that with the hammer, and then the big slam of the door after the second hit. That is shocking. But I do feel like
first kill.
I just keep calling
first kill
because it is what he looks like.
You can get away with it for the first kill. After that,
Disco Stew.
You gotta give us a little more. It
doesn't work as much.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And at least Pam got the hook. And there's at least something there too. But
that was
Franklin
intense.
and Disco Stew was Not much there in terms of suspense. You're right. It is very abrupt and just there's nothing that is very exciting. And also you don't really care about those two. So it's also kind of like, "Meh."
Yeah, right. So that being said, we had a lot of these abrupt deaths. Do you have a favorite death, Taylor?
It has to be Pam to me, or honestly, it's kind of a tie between the first two because that abruptness is is truly shocking. And again, that kind of callback to the earlier conversation and the iconic door slam, all that's really great. But I think Pam's, without a doubt, is by far the most horrifying to be placed on a meat hook, like literally a piece of meat, and then have to watch your boyfriend's dead corpse be dismembered is really a lot. And then to be thrown into an ice box, it's absolutely terrifying, horrifying.
Arguably the worst.
Yeah. What was your favorite of the group?
That was probably best death, but a couple of just aside favorites more because they were just fun. Franklin's death in the wheelchair, just chainsaw to the gut, like that's fantastic.
That's iconic.
Thank you. Yeah. We want that. Thank you.
And we want that for Franklin specifically.
Exactly. We want that for Franklin. But then also, I loved watching the hitchhiker get off by the semi truck. Was so poetic.
Yes, it was so good.
It's so, again, sudden and hysterical. Oh, I remember what I was trying to say earlier is the editors with those like jump scares, I'll call them jump scares, I think are kind of like, Leatherface just appears out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Now they were very like specific in the way they shot those, which made the jump scares effective, albeit not suspenseful, in that they were very intentional by framing the action on the screen coming from one side and then Leatherface appearing from the other side when they cut to him. Now, so your eyes drawn to one side and then boom, out of the other corner comes something else. And then they also very intentionally set a consistent cut pace so that your brain sort of subconsciously feels the rhythm. And then they cut to Leatherface like a half second earlier, just so it happens like a bit quicker, which I think is a very nice touch. And, lends itself to that like jolt. So I would have liked more suspense, but they did the jump scares nice. So
100. Actually, something I wanted to ask you how you felt about too is the kind of dark humor that actually I feel like is mostly in the last scenes where, especially like I do think him getting hit by the truck actually is kind of funny, and I don't know if that's purposeful, but I think it kind of is purposeful. I'm not sure, but the dinner scene, Grandpa to me is like the number one example of like dark humor. What did you think of Grandpa and his alleged 124 years old? Like, what is that? But what did you think of all that?
I wrote down like Grandpa for the win, he's
the best killer. He's the best.
And also, like, he probably looks better in the mask than he does underneath it, like if he's 101, shit. I don't know.
Or 120 something. I don't know.
It's so nice seeing Grandpa get a little ass and late in his life, like good for him, sucking on a finger. Like the man's living. He's living. What can I say?
I just love that they're like, he's the best, and give him the hammer and it just keeps dropping over and over. He can't even hold it or swing it, or it's just this like, and back to probably.
It's sort of like that, like the editing thing. Like, all right, we got it. He can't hold the hammer. Like, let's move on, please. Like, we don't need to see it 10 times. 5 was enough, I think that whole action could have played out faster, but it was fun. It was fun.
It is really, obviously, it's dark humor having him drop it so many times, but then there's also this anxiety producing situation of like, is he actually going to hit her? Is this actually going to happen? And also then on a whole another layer, kind of this like, ridiculous like thing of needing Grandpa to like show his manhood and hit her, and they're trying to help him do it, and he obviously can't do it, but they're still like, he's the best player there was, and there's like a weird impotent kind of nature to him not being able to do it anymore. That
Oh my God. It didn't even occur to me the like phallic nature of a hammer. Like,
yeah, I don't know. It just popped up for me. But I was like, you can't.
Get it up. You can do it.
You can do
Finish
it. And
her
it's like,
off.
but he cannot. He obviously cannot. We got to let that dream die, folks.
Oh, that's
not going to happen.
That's too funny. And then on top of that, in the humor of the scene, you have Leatherface with like his sexy look, you know, with the makeup on, which is truly terrifying if you saw that in real life, but is hysterical playing out on screen. Like that is some dark hysterical shit happening.
Well, they've like reduced him to being he's like the run of the litter, so he's the female of the group. Like again, this is a very sexist and antiquated way of viewing things, but I feel like that's kind of we don't have a matriarchal person involved. Obviously, mom or grandma or whoever's up there has been gone for a minute. So obviously Leatherface as the runt has taken on that kind of role, subservient female type role. And I know there's a whole nother side of this that you could talk about, like the trans stuff, but like I just don't have enough like knowledge base in that to even explore that in this movie. I think it's explored thematically a little bit more in this second and other films. But I just want to say it's a topic of conversation. I don't know enough to really dive into it, and I don't want to pretend like I'm an expert in it, but I just want to note that that's definitely something that's been brought up attached with this character before. Interesting. In a way that a lot of people are kind of like, don't know if that's great representation for sure, but wanted to note that it does exist as a topic of conversation.
I mean, it's just like, I don't remember which movie we were discussing previously, but again, this is not... Camp? Yes, this is a character that is arguably forced into this, or at least is not making a choice by any means to put this mask on and the makeup. Like he's either mentally handicapped in a way or he's being forced by this, right? So it's not like this was a conscious thought of his.
No, I think you get Silence of the Lambs is more of the like abrupt kind of like, but obviously it takes they're all inspired by a real person. Clearly that's where this all came from, but you can't say that there wasn't a little inspiration taken from Leatherface specifically for this.
Oh, 100%. And I would love to just touch on that. Like, it's so clear to me that this movie inspired so many other movies to come, right? Like Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal Lecter, the dinner table scene, feeding, I was expecting in this movie because I'd seen all those other
any
movies
horror
before.
Dinner scene really, I feel like has taken something from this. Yeah.
Right. And of course, like so many like of these Chainsaw Massacre movies to follow.
Rob Zombie.
The movie X.
This
is this is almost a remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
It's like, you're totally right. And I love that we covered X. I know. We're now doing this. Yeah.
And side note, I also totally think we need more of 70s pornos that were shot just like this. I was like, what are we watching? Is it 70s porno here? In the first 30 minutes, I was like, what is this? And then I did read that this is the movie that was responsible for Ridley Scott's inspiration to make Alien, calling Alien Texas Chainsaw Massacre in space, which I thought was really interesting way to critique the movie.
I mean, I'm super interested in that, but where does he get that? Because there's such a family dynamic in this. What was his rationale for those kind of two ideas coinciding?
And, I didn't sit here and do a bunch of research on this, just an anecdotal thing I came across, but
that's just interesting.
I mean, I could see, this basically at the end of the day, some sort of monster stalking a group, and
good use of space, not
a
actual literal space, but a film space. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the very least, a source of inspiration, we could say it digresses in many directions from there. But, and then when our final girl's driving away in the truck, she's just covered head to toe in blood. That's straight out of Carrie, there's some at least to me, some very obvious connections to future movies in the genre of horror.
Oh yeah, and even the past. So obviously, Carrie must have taken some inspiration from this. I think this is Carrie's 2 years later.
2 years later.
Yeah. So, but then obviously, like them using Psycho not only as a reference point for the real, actual inspiration for the crimes, but then like not showing, but also getting the viewer to put the image in their mind. Obviously, with Pam being put on the hook, I think a lot of people misremember it being really gory, and it's not at all. I mean, it's a horrifying scene, but you're not actually seeing it. So it is cool how much they took from like the things that existed, and then obviously this is just it's just one of those huge, I mean, Leatherface even if you don't know the inner workings of the family, or like what the, like a lot of people don't remember all the brothers and grandpa and whatever. Leatherface has stood the test of time clearly as one of the most iconic villains. I'm going to say loosely because again, I think he's not as much of a villain as we probably put him on that pedestal of being, but
Sure. Yeah. And to your point, this is a super low budget movie. I think it was $130,000, filmed in 4 weeks, and was,
oh my God, I didn't even know that.
Yeah, was the largest grossing indie film until Halloween 4 years after.
Respect.
I mean, yeah, they knocked it out of the park. I mean, I've said about all I can say. Any topics of conversation we're missing here?
I mean, I think we pretty much hit the gamut. This is one that you hope is at least well covered, and that, you know, might dive into some of those more nuanced things we didn't exactly get into today. But again, I think that takes you got to really focus it on those nuances where there's enough to just take away from the overall film. I mean, aside from obviously us knowing this is not, I mean, it's so loosely based, but this actually should get credit for being the, like, one of the first true story, quote unquote, things to pop up that now it's all the time. We see this tag attached to films, but it is kind of interesting.
Taylor, that's not true. I mean, this is the actual family photo behind me of.
It's like, what?
No, you're right. Yes, there was Ed Karen or something.
Ed Gein, or Gein, depending on who is pronouncing it. But
right. So real guy, Rob Graves.
Yes.
Wore
Killed
the skin,
two
took
women.
the skin. But that was sort of different, I thought. Like he stabbed them. He never used a chainsaw, if I remember. Maybe one was a gun. I don't remember. But
I think pistol. Yeah. Not that I'm a creep and know all the details of this situation, but
bitch.
I know, dude. Actually, some of it, and I'm not one. I don't like seeing crime scene photo stuff because I think that's a little too far for me. I can do it when it's not real. I don't do it when it's real. But I have seen some of the artifacts he's made, and I have to say they clearly took inspiration while doing their set design for it, because it is, quite frankly, it's very disturbing what he had in his home.
Wow, I have not seen. I should check this out.
Don't Google it. Don't Google it if you want to have a good night's sleep. I wouldn't recommend it. It just popped up on stuff while I was scrolling, and I'm like, didn't need to see that. Thank you so much. Now that's in my brain forever.
You know, let's throw out another obvious connection: Blair Witch, like the little dangling like artifacts. You know, I think.
Oh, and the based on a true story.
Based on a true story.
They definitely took a lot of inspiration from the marketing standpoint from this, which is really interesting that it took like a 20-year gap before someone really took that concept of that kind of true story marketing and ran with it. But I think the internet really made the difference there, probably, and being able to sell that as a real kind of story. I know people were really creeped out watching this movie thinking this was like a real thing that happened, when again, obviously we just said the true story is not even close to that.
Yeah,
but
well, I mean, I remember as a kid, I mean, a lot of this comes from kids, like, when I say kid, I must have been like 13 or something, like watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the 2003 version, and my friend telling me, oh, this is based on a real story. And you're like, holy shit.
No way, there's a family of cannibals and they're taking in hitchhikers and eating them.
Yeah,
no.
Right.
Like, no.
So that I could see the like, the fairy tale version of this, like really spinning out of control and you know, like the subculture groups, but lots of fun.
And it's an interesting time that this film was made, just culturally speaking, and the kind of tones that they hit on. And it's one of those movies that I feel like people can be really dismissive right away and just be like, without having gone back to rewatch, I can't tell you how many people have said when I was like, we're covering Texas Chainsaw, like, oh, isn't that just a slasher, mama? I'm like, okay, well, clearly, like, you haven't seen it in a minute, because I felt the same way in rewatching this. Thematically, there's a lot going on. The editing and cinematography are absolutely just stunning. When they're on point, it is disgustingly good how on point it is. The set design is impeccable, again, just to make that furniture, to get that feeling, that unsettling feeling, but also still filming it in this way that makes it look just stunning, where I don't think people are able to do that as well as they did at this time. This is just a movie that, to me, should get so much more credit. I think a lot of people hold it in high regard, but people who maybe haven't visited it and for a minute will kind of dismiss it. And so, again, this was just super fun to rewatch, and I really loved it. It's a hard last 30 minutes. I'm not going to deny. Even with the humor, it's hard. It's hard to watch somebody in peril for 30 plus minutes, but that's just kind of my wrap up thoughts. I can't think of a point we haven't hit on yet. What's your kind of like end takeaway, pros, cons, whatever?
No, that's entirely it. You know, I just all this is making me think is I realize I'm late for dinner with my grandpa up in the attic. So, barbecue anybody?
No, never again after this movie.
Well, y'all, thanks for checking in with some Texas homegrown cinema.
This is your movie, yeah. This is really for you.
You know, just welcome y'all to my state today. But no, honestly, love this movie. So glad to rewatch this. Can't wait to talk about some more horror in the upcoming near future.
Yeah, we are moving in after this episode. We were really getting to Halloween season, and like last year, we're planning on putting out a good chunk of episodes for you guys. So look for some consecutive Halloween horror action. I cannot wait. We are officially, this is the end of our summer with Texas Chainsaw. We are moving into full fall territory, and I am so excited.
Please and thank you. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in for another episode of Podcast Under the Bed. We will see you next time.
Bye.